What's up, guys? We are back with another Cosmic Legions review, and we are taking a look at another of the T.U.5.C.C Legion builders. Today we're taking a look at the odd one out, the one that is different from the other two, because this is a female figure and it's also a 2.0 figure. We're taking a look at the T.U.5.C Engineer. This is one of the few that I got my hands on to do reviews on months ago, so it's exciting to be able to take a look at her in her mostly painted glory and check her out in full color. Now, she comes in the standard style box for the line. There's a lot of empty space in this one because she is a smaller figure, but you got her there in the window, T.U.5.C emblem up top, and then you've got that hologram image down there on the bottom. One spine will give you a write-up for what's going on in Hvalkatar Book 1, and then the other spine will give you a product shot as well as a write-up for what these engineers, quote-unquote engineers, are, and then you've got your cross-sell for the entirety of Wave 1 on the back. So let's do it. Let's pull her out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our T.U.5.C Engineer, the final T.U.5.C Legion builder in this first wave. And when I say Legion builder, you know, of course, I mean something that is devoid of a lot of paint, and of course had a much cheaper pre-order price compared to its retail offering. This is a very different figure from the others we've looked at, though. The first two, the Science Officer, the Sentry, are 1.0 male figures. This is a 2.0 female figure. Now, if you caught any of the test shot reviews that I did, this is one of the few that I took a look at a few months back. So I'm already really familiar with this one, but I've been really curious to take a look at this one out of the box. Generally speaking, I like 1.0 figures a lot more than 2.0. This one is really awesome, though. There's something about this color scheme. It's mostly black, obviously, but there's something about this color scheme with the red accents and these combination of parts in this color scheme. This is basically Ziri. So this is Ziri just done up in black with a different head sculpt and color scheme, essentially, but it really, really works here, and I can see some pretty interesting part swapping opportunities between the two. So let's see if this thing can do, see how it moves around. If you caught the Ziri review, you kind of know what to expect here, but the T.U.5.C figures all have the space backpack, so it does change things up a little bit. Now, we've got a head that can look up a little bit. This one has a long head, so it does have some hindrances looking up. The alt head is actually even bigger, so you can look down. Really, really good, though. Tilt side to side, full rotation. Arms go out at the shoulders. They really aren't impeded by the backpack. The other figures, the T.U.5.C Sentry and the Science Officer, do have some limitation raising their arms because of that. This one's not so bad. You can swivel forward and backward. It is going to get in the way there, but you have, you know, basically full range. We've got our single jointed swiveling elbow. You've got rotation at the gauntlet, rotation at the wrist, and you've got your hinges there. The torso is the area of concern on this one, and not the torso itself, it's the fact that it has the backpack, because this one goes over the diaphragm cut. That's the big thing with 2.0 figures, is they have that diaphragm cut, not to mention they're smaller. So it can shimmy around, it can go side to side, it goes backwards pretty good, but if you try to go forward, you're basically just sort of going to crunch right into the abdomen area, so it does get in the way. You do have a waist twist at the waist. It's not a ball peg, it's just a twist. Legs go out. They kick forward all the way, kick backward. You got your thigh twist up there. Single jointed, less than 90, but pretty close knee. There is swivel there at the bottom of the knee. And then in typical fashion for a Legion's figure, you've got swivel at the top of the ankle. Really, really nice rocker on this figure. And then you've also got your hinges down there as well. So, I mean, pretty normal. This thing does utilize mythic parts as well in terms of some of the sculpt, not all of it. Basically just the smooth parts are mythic parts. So you are going to be really familiar with how this thing is going to move if you have any familiarity with 2.0 Mythic Legions figures, or if you're new to this stuff and you've only gotten Cosmic, if you have Ziri, you basically know what to expect here also. Now, as far as the overall look and feel here, this figure is, well, it's kind of plain, right? That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a Legion builder. It's supposed to be this way. And if you got it up at the original pre-order price, you basically paid for a very unpainted figure, which works in your favor, especially if you want to paint this thing up. I think at face value, just, you know, with this thing right out of the box, nothing changed, nothing added, nothing removed, I think it's a pretty awesome looking figure. And I had already taken a look at the test shot of this one, and I really enjoyed it. I really like the sculpt on this one. I like the additions with that space backpack, because again, this is Ziri, just with some things added on. But seeing this figure in black compared to the test shot, I think makes it infinitely cooler to me. Something about this particular shade of black, I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, but it has a finish to it that the only word I can describe it as is like satiny. It has a very satin finish to it. It's not super glossy, and it's also not matte either in most respects. but it hits the light in such a way that you can really easily see all of those details, and there is a ton of detail crammed into this sculpt. Some of it is, more detailed than others. We've got the unarmored mythic female arms and legs here. So if you're familiar with those parts, you know what to expect. But we have all the same stuff that Ziri has otherwise. You've got the super detailed gauntlets, belt, the textured torso, and the super detailed boots and shin guards down here, which have tons of, little greebling kind of sculpt bits and bobs and doodads. You've got the connection ports for the little pegs, so you can put weaponry on her. She's got pouches upon pouches upon pouches all over her. We do have the space backpack, which I think works really well on this figure. And again, being the same figure as Ziri, you can easily swap this stuff around. I'm pretty sure I've already seen somebody make like a stealth Ziri figure by combining the two, which I think is just an awesome idea at face value. But that space backpack does, beef this one up a little bit. It makes her less slender, gives her some oomph around the shoulders because, there's no pauldrons to speak of here. You just get this thing, which gives her a much, much thicker and deeper profile. I think looks really good, a little bit more menacing there. And then, of course, that does hold some of our color also. That hit of red on the torso just breaks it up a little bit. That hit of gunmetal-y silver on the belt breaks her up just a little bit. And I feel like this figure with a little bit more paint on it is going to look even cooler. But even at face value right out of the box, I'm really happy with this one. I like this one a lot more now than I expected to. I was really happy with the test shot, but having this in hand, looking at the finished product, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. This black with just enough red really works for me. And then we do have an awesome head sculpt up here also that I think looks tremendous. I'm probably leaning towards this one being my favorite of the 3 Tusk figures at this point for various reasons. I think a lot of it is just the shape, the sculpt of this particular head really works for me. It looks very alien android at the same time. The red, I think, works really well against the black, very similarly to how the blue and the white on the science officer works. I think this works really well too, but I also like those little extra pops of color around the face, around the helmet that have those little, like lights or sensors or whatever they are. And then, of course, we've also got our removable dome piece here that you can see the inner workings of the helmet. This is just a clear piece, just like the science officer has. The Sentry is an opaque yellow, and these two get the clear translucent, which is, infinitely cooler to me. I'm really happy with that. And then going back to our backpack, it is, again, just like the others, it is a removable piece if you want to put it on a different figure, or if you want to, use this for something else, maybe make her less beefy, you can do that as well. But then if you take that off, you can also see the sculpted, textured torso that we see on Ziri is present also. So yeah, this is a really solid looking figure. Again, it is on the plain side, and I say that in the least negative way possible. It's a plain figure, but I also think it looks really good. I'm very happy with the color scheme. I'm very happy with the finish in particular. I really like the way the light bounces off of this one. And in general, I just like the adornments to Ziri's base body that makes this engineer what it is. That backpack and this head on this body really works for me. And then, of course, for some size comparisons, let's start with other Legions figures. So we've got our Engineer in the middle. We've got a 2.0 Mythic figure, Mythic female here on the right with our Orc Queen. And then we've got the Tusk Science Officer for a 1.0 Cosmic here on the left, just to give you a cross-section of how this thing's going to stack up both within Cosmic and within Mythic. Let's pull the Science Officer aside. And here is a Figuarts. There's Turles. Let's do a Mezco, and of course it's going to be Conan. Let's pull Turles aside. Let's do a Masterverse figure. Here is Faker. Let's pull Conan aside. Let's do a Super 7. Here's a Power Ranger. There's our Green Ranger. Let's pull Faker aside. Let's do a Hasbro. There's Banshee. And then let's do one more. Let's do a NECA Turtle. There is Leo. So, if you're familiar with anything 2.0 on the Mythic side of things, you know what to expect here. 6.5-ish inch style figure, so it's going to fit in with anything in the 7-inch scale range. It's going to work okay-ish with 112 stuff. Just depends on what you're trying to put her with. Now, as far as accessories goes, the Engineer is fairly similar to the Sentry and the Science Officer. They all sort of come with like a standard loadout. This one is slightly different, though, in that she doesn't include anything for the helmet. So, like, you got the helmet enclosure with the Science Officer, and you got the whole thing and the clear dome with the Sentry. The Engineer doesn't have that at all, so you just don't get anything. It's kind of diminishing returns, depending on how you want to look at it. She does get an alternate head sculpt, though, and this is her alien unmasked head, and I really like this one. It is somewhat unnerving just because there's like these big eye sockets in it, but with no eye. She's got this humongous singular eye, and then the head is just very awkwardly shaped. It is decidedly alien. I really like this one. I've been pretty happy with all the heads under these helmets so far, but I'm leaning towards this one as, you know, being one of my favorites. I do really like the color here too, and I'm curious to see how this one's going to look when we have it in other figures down the road. Now, she does get some hands. You get a set of trigger finger hands to complement the gripping hands. She also has hands in the T.U.5.C.C hand pack. So if you got that, you'll have like 15 different pairs of hands across all of the figures. And then she gets her weaponry. So you've got a set of the little add-on blasters that can attach to another gun or to the gauntlets via those little pegs. Hers are in a green colorway. And then you do get the actual blasters for her in that same color. She does include the clear pegs that pop in, so you can put those in there. You get a short set and a long set for whatever you need them for, and then they pop into the ports for stowing and just having them on her person. So you've got those. That's 2 sets of guns, 2 that go on the ports and 2 that get held, and then you get the staff as well. So this makes the 4th or 5th time we've gotten this one. Hers is again in this green colorway, and all of it does have like a slight metallic to it as well. So it's not just flat. There's a little bit of a metallic. And if, you know, obviously if you can mix and match these if you prefer a different color with your engineer. So she does come with a pretty solid array of accessories, head, hands, multiple different weapons. And then of course, if you get that hands pack, you're going to have a lot of different options for her from that perspective as well. So yeah, overall, again, this is a really solid figure and one that I have ended up liking a lot more now that I have the finished version rather than just my test shot. Something about this black and red minimalistic color scheme is really working for me, and I'm really enjoying this particular figure just based on the parts it's made out of, especially after already taking a look at Ziri and getting a really hands-on with that one, and this being exactly the same. It's just more of the same, and both are really solid. Of course, you can also mix and match those to make different kinds of figures between those 2 bodies. And then this one also comes with some really solid accessories, very much in line for the T.U.5.C.C Legion builders, but this one is a little bit unique in terms of what it does and doesn't come with, of course. Unique color scheme for those accessories, and then again, I really like that alt head. So that's going to do it for this look at the Cosmic Legion's T.U.5.C Engineer. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.